Hello everyone, it's Father John Noggle here, and if you're watching this because you've encountered my account here on Twitter, and given all of the drama and political crisis that's going on through the world, I thought we could maybe have a mini lecture on just war theory. Just war theory originating with St. Augustine, perfected by other moral theologians, a gift of the Catholic Church to the world, but not a matter of faith, but rather a matter of human reason. It belongs to the natural moral law to hold to each and every one of the components of just war theory. So regardless of what religion you belong to, regardless of what philosophy you belong to, you should adhere that war is just if and only if it is in conformity with the principles that just war theory elucidates for us. Now, just war theory has two parts: the decision whether it is right to go to war, and then that's sometimes called jus ad bellum, using the Latin phrase. And then finally there's jus in bello, which is the just prosecution of the war. It's what you're allowed to do. In order for a war and its prosecution to be just, it must be just to go to war, and that war must be prosecuted justly. Otherwise, sin is now involved, and a war can become sinful when it is entered into without justification, but a war also can become sinful when it is prosecuted in a manner that is sinful. Both are wrong, and both would render the cause unjust. With regard to jus ad bellum, the justice to go to war, there are traditionally four things that have to be present. One, it has to be declared by a competent authority. A tyrant who is illegitimately running an area does not have competent authority, is not a legitimate form of government. All forms of terrorism lack right authority because you don't have an actual real political structure. You don't belong to legitimate people and land. You just are ad hoc. So that's one of the reasons why terrorism is always immoral, is that it always lacks competent and right authority. Second, you need to have probability of success. Even if everything else looks right, you are the poor, innocent victim. It is actually wrong to sacrifice all of your people in a cause that's going to fail anyway, because there's no hope of success. And why would you go to war just to lose? Third, in order to be justified in going to war, it has to be the last resort. You have to have tried diplomacy. Diplomacy's failed. Every other avenue, every other negotiation has failed. That this is now the only way that one can avoid the evil that is being accomplished and being threatened. And then finally, just cause. That because this belongs to the principle of double effect, that you have to be avoiding an evil. You have to be avoiding an evil. It has to be unavoidable. That you have to, unfortunately, cause people to die, but that's not your job. Like, your job is self-defense, and that the people dying is simply the consequence of self-defense. So the just cause has to be one of self-defense. It can't be some ancient blood war about land that was taken from you 10, 20 years ago, 100 years ago, that these are not just causes for going to war. So, in the context of the current crisis, we can see that, say, Hamas, but everything they've done is unjustified. They do not possess competent authority. Their probability of success is almost nil. Certainly, this is not last resort. Peace has been offered so many times, but has been rejected because their official stance is the utter destruction of Israel. And there is simply no just cause. Killing people because you want some terror? No. To think that way involves a perversion of the intellect and will, which renders one very darkly wicked in the moment. So then, clearly they are not justified. with regard to Israel, the ceasing of the killing of innocents is certainly justifiable. Certainly Israel's a nation, so they possess competent authority. There is a high probability of success, and there's an argument that certainly that it's last resort. So in this analysis, Israel is justified to go to war. And what does that mean, though? Oh, we need to focus on jus in bello. Jus in bello. So just because you've been justified to do something, the actual thing has to still be moral. And this is where a lot of people very sincerely have a lot of grave concerns. So, for example, one of the categories of jus in bello is distinction. Distinction. Are we able to make the proper distinction that only combatants are being targeted? Now, there is the idea of collateral damage. You know, when you blow up a military base, there's going to be some non-combatant people cleaning the floors, maybe, or whatever. And that's not willed. It's not directly targeted, but you would have this unfortunate and unavoidable consequence that some innocents shall die. Now, on the other side, the use of humans as human shields, which is something that really wasn't thought of until the modern era, well, then that would increase the amount of collateral damage. Doesn't mean that you're targeting them, but it means that you can't avoid. So these all belong to the matter of prudence, but there are very real concerns. And also, you know, you can never kill someone who's surrendered. You can never kill someone who's paratrooping down from the aircraft that they abandoned. There has to be this idea of distinction that some people are legitimate targets and others aren't. Second, there has to be proportionality, because even if your cause is just, actual harm is going to be done by defending your just cause. And you have to put some mental exercises in to say, is the good we are going to protect and accomplish greater than the amount of damage to the common good that is going to happen as a result of taking this military action? And that's why in many cases it's appropriate to not look for total victory, to stand down at a certain point, because eventually the amount of evil you're doing exceeds the amount of good that you're hoping to preserve. And so proportionality, an essential part of jus in bello. Third, the idea of everything you do should be militarily necessary, that you aren't attacking just for the sake of attacking. You are always trying to do the minimal amount to accomplish the legitimate, just military objective that's in mind, whether it's occupying the territory so you remove all the weapons or use against you or whatever. Is that necessity needs to be kept in mind, is that if you don't have to have total victory, if you can accomplish all of your stated goals short of that. You have to treat prisoners of war properly. You can't just kill them off, can't torture them. And then most importantly, no means malum in se. Never, ever, ever, ever in war can you use a means that is malum in se, that is evil in themselves, because you can never, ever, ever accomplish good through evil. So a lot of the classical examples of rape, torture, off the table. You're doing it, you're illegitimate, your cause is now illegitimate. You can't do that. Biological weapons, nuclear weapons, weapons that don't distinguish, probably firebombing as well, is that these are all just malum in se. And what's really, really distressing is the number of people who, while they perhaps have a just cause at the beginning, have said ridiculous things like, let's turn the whole area into a parking lot. Let's kill everyone. Let's start over. Let's start bombing countries, even if we're not able to prove that they were involved in the terrorist action. These are means that are malum in se. This is just killing for the sake of killing because I'm angry. And really it's a form of premeditated murder. So I always encourage people, read the catechism, read good sources, particularly on the matter of just war, because we humans, we have the pride problem, and And because we have pride, we have wrath and rage. And even when we're right, we're wrong. And something to keep in mind as the world is in a very precarious place is that even when we are justified to go to battle, we can still be the moral monsters because we've allowed revenge to take over from just self-defense. Anyway, pray for peace. Pray for conversion of hearts. Pray for the spread of the gospel, which is one of the surest means by which peace is accomplished in this world. For peace is brought to us by the Prince of Peace. And the prince of this world brings nothing but suffering and death and decay. God bless you. God love you.